if you are just kind of feeling like, I don't know what I'm doing with femininity, follow women who seem to know what they're doing, you know? Some days I don't even feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like a fraud for talking about femininity online, but that's when I get my inspiration from other people. You can also... Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I run the blog called Mrs. Midwest. Thank you for clicking on my face. Welcome to my channel. If you have not been here before, we like to discuss all things femininity, traditionalism, homemaking in the modern world, etc. And today I have a very exciting video. As you can tell, I can't stop smiling because we are going to be talking about femininity again, but specifically 7 feminine daily activities that I began doing that honestly changed my life. Starting with the first daily feminine activity, which is to clean your space. Keeping a tidy space really helps clear your mind. And yes, that does, include decorations, but really, the more we focus on cleaning and maintaining and stewarding our spaces, the more we are engaging with that feminine quality of beautification. I know a lot of people can lose touch with, the habit of keeping our spaces clean, especially if we weren't raised in a home that really valued cleanliness. But I promise you that if you engage with that muscle of femininity, you're gonna wanna surround yourself with beauty and keep your space clean. I also need to add that, as I always say, femininity is about maturity. And when you want to grow into your adult woman maturity, that includes taking care of the things you've been given on this earth. And I used to be a very messy person. So again, I think it's like a muscle, just like femininity. It's self-discipline, and you can become a cleaner person. It's not either you were born a clean person or a messy person, but it's something you can develop an appreciation for it. But just make your bed every day, rinse out your sink after you're done getting ready in the morning, put your kitchen to bed in the evening. You guys know I always do that. And just keep things well maintained, because you're going to grow that self-discipline, that maturity, which is feminine, but also tap into that beautification and that desire to nurture your environment, which does bring us to the second daily activity, which grew my femininity, which is all about nurturing the things in your life. It's about caring for other things, maintaining their health, making sure they have their needs met, specifically with things in your care, like plants, like children and pets. And I know children are way more valuable than plants and pets, but you can still exercise that practice of nurturing something else even before you have kids. You guys know I don't have kids yet, but I do like to nurture my pet. I like to nurture my home and my community. Try to practice nurturing the things around you, taking care of things, and even maybe gathering more responsibility. It could be something as small as getting a cactus or a goldfish, just something to exercise that feminine practice of nurturing. With masculinity, we have the idea of protection, defense, protecting those you love. And the feminine response to that is nurturing the things we love, nurturing the things in our life. And that can be as simple as watering a plant, caring for your children, or even just nurturing relationships. Set up coffee dates with other people. Focus on showing your care and love and giving of yourself to things in your life, people in your life. And you will begin to notice that generous feminine spirit growing within you, where you're not just living for yourself, you're living to care for other people and to spread your love and your compassion. And that is a very feminine posture to take. I've mentioned this before, but I am not naturally a person who's very drawn to children. I've never been really drawn to being naturally very nurturing. And so as I've gone on my feminine journey, I've had to practice this daily nurturing to really grow in that area in my femininity. Again, this is a muscle. It's something we can all grow. And even if you're not naturally like a baby person, I wasn't either, but I've been able to become more nurturing by doing this daily habit of nurturing those around me. I've gotten that question before, what does it mean to nurture? And it really means to show tender care and to maintain the health of that thing, whether it's the health of a relationship or the physical health of a plant or a child. So this does bring us to the third point, which I wanted to put into its own separate category. but it's about showing generous affection to your man. So this affection, it's not just physical affection. It could be words of affection. It could be giving your time to somebody, doing things for them. And specifically, I wanted to put this into the category of, the romantic love, because there is something about interacting with masculinity that really brings out that femininity within a woman. You can fit within that kind of, is this right? Yin. Am I doing this right? I can't. Yeah, yin and yang. You have the yin, feminine, the yang, masculine, and they come together. And when we come together in a romantic way with a man, again, it's not just, intimacy. It's not just physical intimacy, it's emotional intimacy. It's giving of yourself. And the reason I attached the word generous to that is because to be feminine is to be generous with your love, with that nurturing care. Specifically with men too, a lot of men do really thrive when they feel very cared for, very encouraged, celebrated by their woman. Don't smother him in affection and time and just be obsessed with him, but make sure that you show that you genuinely care for your man. This will bring out that femininity within you because you'll kind of nest into his masculinity through your generosity. I love to do this by doing the dishes and cooking and cleaning. I love serving my man. I love, cuddling up next to him. I love complimenting him. I love listening to him. And in turn, he provides for my needs as well. He's very affectionate and generous to me, and our relationship just continues to get better because we don't hold back with love. If you're kind of talking to somebody, have fun in that relationship. Have fun texting, call them on the phone, show them you care, bake cookies for him, do sweet little things for the men in your life. If you're not in a relationship, it's totally fine. You can still exercise the practice of loving people around you. But I really encourage you to take this time while you're single to, reflect as a feminine woman, what kind of man are you looking for? How can you bring out masculinity in your dating options? How can you project your femininity and really reflect and write down and kind of create some goals for yourself for what you want your romantic relationship to look like? I did that for years before I met my husband, really reflecting on what kind of man I wanted to end up with. So, whether or not you're in a relationship, we can interact with masculinity. All right, this brings us to the fourth part, which is about investing in your hobbies and your personal growth. I began doing this, through my lens of femininity, in the sense that I wanted to really invest in my creativity. I wanted to learn a lot about the world, but I also wanted to get skills and be creative. And creativity is a very feminine thing because it's, again, that idea of, even a woman's body, you start with nothing almost and you create life. There's something very mature and feminine about a woman who can creatively use her resources to create something beautiful. Any hobby that you have, investing in it, building skills throughout your lifetime, it's going to stimulate that femininity because it just brings out this really exciting light within yourself. And I've talked about this before, but the feminine spirit is also about nurturing your own talents, your own gifts, using what the Lord has given you to bless other people. I like to use my talents and gifts to bless other people, to bake for other people, to cook for other people, to give other people little things I've sewn. I do want to add too, though, you don't have to turn every single hobby or talent you have into a side hustle. It's okay to enjoy a hobby without making money off of it. You don't have to sell something just because you like doing it, okay? You don't need to justify your hobby with some sort of capitalist, mentality of making money off of it. The benefit you get from investing in that hobby is personal development, blessing other people, expressing your creativity, and ultimately becoming more feminine. That is what you get out of that investment. And you don't need to make it a side hustle if it's stressful and if you don't want to. I just had to add that in there. But let's move on to the fifth part, which kind of goes along with what I was just talking about, but it's about seeking merriment. Seeking that kind of, again, childlike joy. And I say childlike lightly because what I'm getting at there is not immaturity, but rather innocence. That innocent joy for life. And that, again, is very opposite from that hormonal, moody, anxious, dark, depressed place a lot of women get as we age. I was over there in that pit of despair. And throughout my feminine journey, I've become much more whimsical and I've kind of tapped into that childlike joy I had when I was younger, when I was a young woman. And you could kind of call this, the happy gene. But again, I don't think that it's something that you either have or you don't have. I think it's a muscle. I think joy and seeking that merriment is something that anybody can do. And it doesn't matter if you have a serious personality, a quiet personality. We can all seek joy and merriment, and for my Christians, joy is a fruit of the Spirit. Peace is a fruit of the Spirit. It's a result of Christ in our life, helping us as we are sanctified, stepping away from our sins, repenting of our selfish sinfulness and coming closer to God. That in itself brings me so much joy. But then there's also joy for the sake of femininity, where we can use our joy to uplift others, uplift ourselves, and just bring that warmth and that brightness to every room we walk into. We are not called to not have emotions. We're not called to be, fake people who pretend to be happy. But I do believe that we should pursue joy in our lives. We should pursue that warmth, no matter what we're going through. And as I've said before on my channel, we can't control the terrible things that are going to happen to us. Lots of us are going to get sick. Lots of us are going to lose money. Lots of us are going to lose loved ones and go through trials and pain in this life. And that's why I do believe that as much as it depends on us, we should be seeking that joy. We should be pursuing that peace. There's that idea of that Disney princess sparkle. And I've defended Disney princesses before on my channel. But the idea of being, a woman who can walk into a room and bring warmth, whatever that looks like for you is amazing. And I do believe that's a worthwhile pursuit. And I don't think you have to have this huge, aggressive, bubbly personality in order to make that happen. Rather, it's about finding merriment and finding the brighter side of life, no matter what you're going through. I don't think that our circumstances should dictate whether or not we have joy or peace, because I do believe we should rely on Christ, on the Lord, no matter what we're going through. But I do think it's important to pursue that joy, to remind ourselves what we have to be grateful for. And the more I do that every day, the more I find myself, again, getting in touch with that light, bright warmth that is very feminine, because it's so nurturing to others. It's so nurturing to myself. And it brings that, that Disney princess inviting kind of vibrancy to life. And I'm going to do a whole video about vibrancy, but that's ultimately what I believe femininity is. It's being vibrant, and that's going to look different on women based on your personalities and based on who you are. But I do believe we can all shine with vibrancy. And the more you focus on what you're grateful for, the more you readjust your attitude, the more you seek peace and avoid stress, avoid the drama, the more feminine you'll become. It happened to me. I know it will happen to you as well. This does bring us to the sixth part, which is presenting femininely. Honestly, this is a huge thing, and it can't be stressed enough. But how you present yourself to the world gives the world a message, but it also gives you a message of how you feel yourself. And you might have noticed, but my New Year's resolution was to wear more color because to me, color is so feminine. It's so warm. It's so inviting. And it is beautiful, and it makes me feel beautiful. And I'm really trying to tap into that this year. It might sound so silly and small, but the more you present yourself in a feminine way to the world, the more feminine you will behave. It's attached, it goes hand in hand. So the more you present femininely with feminine colors, feminine textures, silhouettes, accessories, hair, makeup, etc., the more you're going to behave femininely. And this made a huge impact in my life because I've always kind of dressed somewhat femininely, but when I finally just pitched out all the unflattering gray clothing in my wardrobe, when I finally made the commitment to wear a lip color every day, to do my hair every day, and now wear color a lot, I noticed I started behaving much more femininely. And again, it's that lighter side of life. It's that softer kind of side of your personality. And it's not that rough, gruff, tough, masculine side. You might want to display that to the world. That's totally your choice. But if you want to be more feminine, presenting femininely will help you in this journey. I have so many videos about how to do this. So that's all I'm going to say. Watch my beauty and style videos if you need inspo. But that does bring us to the seventh and last tip, which is to Follow feminine content creators. I've mentioned this recently, but this is something that definitely impacted my femininity when I began doing it every single day. Now, I don't just stay on social media for hours and hours, but when I choose to go on social media and look at content, I choose feminine content creators because it blesses my own femininity. Not only does it make me not feel like a crazy person, but it makes me feel inspired and excited, and it also helps me grow a deeper respect for femininity when I see it displayed in so many different ways. You know, I follow some content creators where they're woodsy and whimsical and they write poetry and they wear greens and purples and it's very earthy. And then I follow feminine mothers, you know, bohemian mothers, really organized day planner mothers. And I also just like to follow women who express themselves with their makeup and their hair or their creativity or just their homemaking. You know, there's so many different ways to approach femininity, and it's going to look different on all of us. Me being feminine is going to look different than you, but the general feeling you will get from a feminine content creator is feeling like this woman is confident in her womanhood. She is not trying to be androgynous or masculine. She's comfortable in her feminine body. She's comfortable in her feminine roles in life. She's comfortable with her feminine beauty, her feminine personality, what have you. So I really encourage you, if you are just kind of feeling like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing with femininity, follow women who seem to know what they're doing. You know, some days I don't even feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like a fraud for talking about femininity online, but that's when I get my inspiration from other people. You can also do this on Pinterest. You can do it on YouTube. There's tons of feminine content that is just blowing up the internet in the past year, and it's very exciting. But I really encourage you to just not copy somebody. Focus on interpreting femininity in your own way, because that's also going to make it last so much longer. You know, if you copy someone else's version of their personality or their femininity, it's never going to really sit right on you, and you're going to feel uncomfortable. So you're going to need to interpret femininity for yourself. And sometimes copying can be really helpful. It can kind of get us started along the way. But as you grow, try to angle things for yourself, for your life. And remember, it's not going to look the same on anybody. So that is the 7th and final thing I did. I started following feminine content creators, and it definitely inspired my life. So that is all I have for you today. You can tell I'm very excited. I think this is what happens when I record in the afternoon, not the morning time. I'm very awake right now, you can tell. So I just want to say thank you for watching. If you're interested in more of this kind of content, I have a whole playlist about femininity. But in general, I hope you also follow my written blog. I'm going to get back to writing on there. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. But in total, I hope you have a wonderfully blessed and femininely inspired week, my beautiful sisters.